Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome. If you're new, let me restart all that. Hi guys, my name is Melissa. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I do talk about missing children cases in my channel. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified every time I upload. Today I do have a new case, and we're going to be talking about the LeeAnna Warner disappearance. So let's go ahead and get started. So LeeAnna Warner was a young girl who disappeared from the city of Chisholm, Minnesota on June 14, 2003 in a suspect abduction and murder. On the day of her disappearance, LeeAnna was last seen walking home from a friend's house between 5 and 5:15 p.m. She was last spotted walking on a southwest 2nd or 3rd Street. At the time of her disappearance, LeeAnna was 5 years old. Although there's no concrete evidence that LeeAnna was kidnapped, the police argue that it is the more realistic option, believing that they would have found her if she had simply wandered off. Over the years, the police had received more than 17,000 leads. However, with very little evidence to go off, they have never had a concrete suspect, and as of 2023, LeeAnna has not been found and her case remains unsolved. The Warner family includes Tiffany, who preferred to go by plain, Christopher Warner, and their daughter LeeAnna Warner. LeeAnna's parents had both previously been divorced. Christopher and Kaylin met and moved in with one another towards the end of 1996, and Kaylin gave birth to LeeAnna on the January 21st of 1998. The Warner has only moved to Chisholm a few months prior to LeeAnna's disappearance. LeeAnna was described as being an outgoing, friendly, and very brave child. Will survive instincts, they were considered to be quite advanced for her age. She enjoyed playing with dolls, riding her bike, and spending time with her family. LeeAnna also was charged for a hit and run for hitting Christopher with her car in October of 2003. LeeAnna died on December 10th, 2022. On June 14, 2003, LeeAnna was last seen walking barefoot home from her friend's house, which was approximately a block and a half away from her home. Clearly, Warren informed the authorities that they had just returned home from Side Lake Rummage Salt. Despite killing prostitutes LeeAnna needed to rest, her daughter decided that she wanted to go play with her friend, who lived only a few streets away. LeeAnna gave her permission to go as long as LeeAnna was home by 5. LeeAnna met the commute to her friend's house at 4:30, a short walk that her parents said she had done many times on her own. However, upon her arrival, it was apparent that there was no one home after her friend's place, so she decided to turn around and go home. LeeAnna was last seen walking on southwest 2nd or 3rd Street between 5 and 5:15 p.m. 5 p.m. LeeAnna had not returned home, and her mother began to panic. And around 5:30 p.m., Kaylin began the search for her daughter, enlisting the help of people in the neighborhood. Parents and children from the surrounding suburbs gathered together to search for LeeAnna. By 9 p.m., despite the intensive search party, there has still been not sighting of LeeAnna. It was at this stage that Kaylin and Chris reported their daughter missing to the local police. At the time of her disappearance, LeeAnna stood between 3 feet 0 inches and 3 feet 2 inches and weighed approximately 50 pounds. She described as being a petite Caucasian female with brown hair. Her hair was cut into a short bob cut at the time of her disappearance. She had dark brown eyes. LeeAnna had 2 main distinguished criticisms on being the mole above her left ankle and one other being a dimple on her left shoulder. The last thing that LeeAnna was seen wearing was a sleeveless blue denim dress. Some sources state a denim shirt with the belt, orange underwear, a flower earrings with the red garment, and her right ear, and no shoes or socks. The Chisholm Police Department arrived at the scene shortly after they received a phone call from the Warner family. Another search party was sent out, this time including the aid of the authorities, a combination of police, firefighters, local volunteers, experts, trackers, with bloodhounds gathered to search the town. The checker guards barns, shades, and abundant earring ornaments in the hopes that LeeAnna had simply wandered off and gotten lost. The group searched for 48 hours but weren't able to find anything that at what happened to LeeAnna. In the weeks following her disappearance, authorities had held an extensive search that included helicopters and bloodhounds, but by the end of the month, they were not any closer to finding LeeAnna. A month after LeeAnna vanished, a local town person came across child footprints near Longyear Lake, the lake LeeAnna was at with her mother on the day of her disappearance. The Chisholm Police Department had the lake drained in the attempt to locate LeeAnna on her body, but they found no other evidence of her being there. They was forced to stop their search over the winter, or the lake and surrounding areas froze over. In the summer of 2004, the authorities began a new search for Chisholm in another effort to find LeeAnna's remains, but no evidence surfaced since there had not been no further official search scheduled. And in 2020, Chisholm Police Chief Venner Manor said, "We still have several persons of interest in the fact that they cannot call them a suspect because we don't have any evidence. But we have people that we can't clear out either." So these are the suspects in the theories that they have. There are numbers of suspects in the theories associated with what happened to LeeAnna Warner. However, to this day, none of them have been proven true. So Kaylin and Christopher's were never considered suspects, and they were not required to take the lie detector test. However, Christopher had been having domestic problems with his ex-wife and had even sought out a restraining order on her. He also claimed that she had made threats towards Kaylin and LeeAnna. Despite the information, authorities felt that Christopher's previous problems with his ex-wife were not connected to his daughter's disappearance. Years after LeeAnna disappeared, Kaylin and Christopher moved away from Chisholm to try in Starfredge, claiming the town no longer felt safe or like a home to them. Matthew James Curtis, one of the main suspects that was defined as a potential having a role in LeeAnna's disappearance, was a man by name of Matthew James Curtis, who was age 24 at the time. In August 2003, Curtis was arrested for possession of child pornography. He was interrogated a number of times by the police about whether or not he had anything to do with LeeAnna's case. Due to his prior charges and his proximity to LeeAnna, authorities suspect that Curtis had played a role in the young girl's disappearance. They were granted a warrant and searched his pickup truck for DNA samples. However, an extensive search of his truck and his belongings revealed that there was no evidence that LeeAnna had ever been in the vehicle there before. There was no way to directly connect Curtis to the case. And in September 2003, the day before he was supposed to appear in local court for child pornography charges, Curtis' corpse was found in his pickup truck a few miles of Chisholm. Authorities claim that Curtis suffocated himself with a plastic bag. The investigation into Curtis' death was closed and official ruled a suicide. However, there was a great deal of speculation in the controversy surrounding his death, with some believing that Curtis was murdered and that his body was possession to make it look like a suicide. Currently, there is no evidence to support this claim. Joseph Edward Duncan III. Joseph Edward Duncan III was a convicted sex offender who was accused of kidnapping 2 children in Idaho. When the authorities were going through his computer for unrelated cases, they came across an encrypted document which made reference to LeeAnna's disappearance. Duncan also kept an online diary. In 2004, Duncan wrote in this diary explaining that he was afraid that he was going to be blamed for the disappearance of LeeAnna Warner. He also discussed his satisfaction with the investigation into him and his disconnect with being labeled a sex offender. His knowledge of missing Minnesota's girl led the investigation about whether he had anything to do with the young girl's disappearance. However, authorities could find nothing concrete to put him on trial. A timeline of Duncan's most recent activity also revealed that he had not been in the Chisholm area at this time of LeeAnna Lech abduction. If you don't have nothing to do with it, why would you even bother writing about it? That don't make no sense. A little old lady. Christopher Kaylin told authorities that in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, LeeAnna had been behaving strangely. One afternoon, LeeAnna's parents came home to her playing with a case filled with Barbie dolls and their clothes, despite their never having purchased the toys for her. When Kaylin asked her where she gotten them from, LeeAnna said she had been given them from a little old lady. A week prior to her disappearance, LeeAnna packed suitcases without her favorite things and told her parents that she wanted to go live at her new family's house. They also found her sleeping in her closet one night, claiming that she was afraid the monster outside her window were going to get her. Investigators looked into this and determined that there was no evidence to indicate that anyone had used toys to lure LeeAnna away from her family. The information was dismissed. Undefined suspect. At the time of LeeAnna's disappearance, numerous witnesses recalled seeing a man in his mid-30s walking around the neighborhood. He was described as being approximately 5 feet 10 inches tall and around 55 pounds. He alleged had a dark tattoo of a star or a sun on his right arm. The man had not been identified. Around the same time, witnesses identified a maroon and blue Cadillac that was driven by an African American man who appeared to be in his 20s and 30s and had a bald or shaving head. There was also accounts of an unfamiliar older model's rusty down pickup truck that was driven by a Caucasian man with the black curly hair. None of these men have been identified, and it remains unclear whether any of them had anything to do with LeeAnna's disappearance. LeeAnna's disappearance received local media attention, particularly from Chisholm and the surrounding areas. The case was aired in America's Most Wanted in July of that year, and recent years, People magazines had attempted to investigate the disappearance of a young girl. Podcast True Crime Gardish released a 2-part series of LeeAnna's disappearance in August 2021. Part 1 details the circumstances of LeeAnna's disappearance, and Part 2 discusses possible suspects. And that is the case of LeeAnna. This case, to me, I think it's like really, I don't know. It's this one. I don't have theories of what may have happened to her. What does kind of concern me is her not having shoes on, because I mean, I hate wearing shoes when I'm inside the house. I'm wearing socks now because it's kind of cold where I live, but I hate wearing shoes inside the house. And my mom always gets mad at me. She's like, you need to put shoes, the floor is cold. I don't care. I don't like wearing shoes when I'm inside the house. But outside my house, yeah, that's a whole different story. Like, that's a whole different story. But with this case, I really think that somebody took her. What I'm curious to know is, how did nobody saw anything? Like, no one. Like, because at that time, usually people were probably, getting home from work or already, if it was in the weekends, you would think that there's people outside playing. So for no one to see anything strange is weird. Like, it's weird. And then this whole old lady situation type of thing, I don't know. Like, this, that old lady situation sounds really strange to me. But I really don't know what to say when it comes to this case. I really don't, and I hope that she still has. They say her mom did pass away, but I do hope that she still has family alive that are looking for her, and hopefully we soon can find answers. My goal with me doing this channel and talking about missing case is to get these cases out there, but also I do have the hope and faith that I will come up with an update to every single of the videos that I have uploaded. I want, we found the body, stuff like that. I want to come up with an update. And that is my main goal too. Not just to keep these these cases in media attention, but also to have the faith in God and faith in the justice system and the detectives, knowing that they're probably still working on this case. And my goal is to come up with every case I talk to about. I want to come up with an update. I'm like, I want to come and say, hey guys, remember these cases that I talked to? I have a good news. I have an update. We know what happened, and we know the answers that we've been wondering for this so many years. So I will see y'all guys with a new case. Y'all have a great day. Y'all have a great weekend, and I hope to see y'all soon.